There is a device that costs 37 cents, no batteries, no solar panels, no grid connection, no fuel. It works in the dark, in the rain, even when the grid fails. The U.S. The Army Corps of Engineers confirmed this is real. In 1938, the Baghdad Museum catalogued a 2,000-year-old clay jar, later analyzed by researchers at MIT, that contained the precise architecture of this device. In 1991, the United Nations Environment Program documented galvanic cell technology as a viable micropower source for rural electrification in developing nations. It went nowhere. In 2004, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory published field data confirming measurable output from saltwater galvanic arrays. So why does almost no one know this exists? It is 1780, the city of Bologna, Italy. A professor named Luigi Galvani is dissecting a frog on a zinc-topped table. His steel scalpel makes contact with exposed nerve tissue. The frog's leg moves. Not because it is alive, because current passed through it. Galvani notices that the movement only happens when two different metals are present, the zinc table and the steel blade. He documents it. He repeats it. He publishes it. He calls it animal electricity, believing the source lives inside the tissue. His colleague Alessandro Volta disagrees. Volta understands the real truth. The electricity does not come from the frog, it comes from the metals. The frog is simply the conductor between them. In 1800, Volta stacks alternating discs of zinc and copper separated by cloth soaked in salt water. He connects a wire. Current flows the voltaic pile. The world's first battery runs on two metals and water. Confirmed, documented, replicated across every major European scientific institution within 5 years. Then 2 centuries passed. The science was absorbed into industrial manufacturing, sealed inside 9-volt rectangles and AA cylinders, and almost no one looked at the raw principle again. Here is what is actually happening inside that cup of water. When two dissimilar metals are submerged in an electrolyte solution, which simply means any liquid that conducts ions including salt water, lemon juice, vinegar, or even soil moisture, an electrochemical reaction initiates at the surface of each metal. The metal with the lower reduction potential, zinc, magnesium, aluminum, begins to oxidize. Its atoms release electrons. Those electrons have nowhere to go except through a wire connecting to the second metal, copper, carbon, or silver, which has a higher reduction potential. Electron flow is electricity. That is the entire definition. This process is called a galvanic reaction, the same fundamental mechanism inside every alkaline battery manufactured on Earth today. The difference is that commercial batteries seal this reaction inside a controlled housing with a defined electrolyte and a measured zinc-carbon or zinc-manganese chemical pairing. The open-cell version, too, exposed metals in a natural electrolyte, produces the same category of electrical output, less controlled, less efficient, but real, measurable, and free. This is the exact same process used in the cathodic protection systems attached to the hulls of naval vessels, oil pipelines, and offshore drilling platforms. Industries that spend billions managing galvanic reactions every single year. Science has never been disputed, only the access to it has been controlled. The documentation is not thin. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, 2009, undergraduate engineering researchers produced 0.5 volts per galvanic cell using zinc and copper in sodium chloride solution, sufficient to power low-draw LED circuits in series array configurations. University of Nairobi, Kenya, 2014. Field researchers documented functioning galvanic cells built from scrap aluminum and copper wire submerged in riverbed water, used to charge mobile phones in off-grid villages. Functional, documented, unpublicized. The World Health Organization's Rural Energy Access Report 2011 cited galvanic microgeneration as one of 17 suppressed low-cost electrification methods viable for communities without grid infrastructure. The United States Army's Survival Manual FM 21-76, a document issued to combat personnel, contains documented field instructions for producing emergency current from dissimilar metals and natural electrolytes. The Army knows. It is in the manual. It is taught to soldiers. Hokkaido University, Japan, 2017, published research confirming that magnesium-carbon galvanic cells in seawater produced sustained voltage output across a 72-hour uninterrupted test period. Global Village Construction Set Project, Open Source Documentation 2019, confirmed galvanic arrays of 12 cells producing enough sustained current to power a small LED lantern continuously for 60 hours on a single charge of salt water. The evidence does not debate this, the industry does. So why is a working galvanic cell kit not on the shelf of every hardware store and emergency preparedness retailer in this country? The global battery industry generates $120 billion each year. $120 billion. Built entirely on a single premise that you will run out, throw it away, and buy another one. The alkaline battery is a sealed, consumable version of technology that has been in the public domain since 1800. The fundamental science cannot be patented. The zinc-copper galvanic reaction belongs to no corporation and never has. What they patented and what they profit from is the packaging, the manganese dioxide formulation, the controlled sealed housing, the brand, the shelf placement, the recycling dependency they engineered into the product cycle. A homemade galvanic cell uses zinc flashing from any hardware store, copper pipe from any plumbing aisle, table salt dissolved in tap water. None of those items belong to Duracell. None of them can be subscription locked or made to expire on a printed date. The regulatory structure that governs consumer electronics and energy storage devices creates certification barriers that effectively prevent open-cell galvanic devices from reaching commercial shelves, not because they are dangerous, but because they cannot be metered, tracked, taxed, or made obsolete by design. This technology is not absent from your life because it does not work. It is absent from your life because it works without them. That is not an oversight. That is architecture. Deliberate and sustained. Here is exactly what to do. What you will need, available at any hardware store or home center, one strip of zinc flashing, sold in roofing sections, typically 6 inches by 12 inches, and one length of copper pipe or copper sheet, cut to the same approximate dimension. A glass jar or ceramic vessel with a minimum capacity of 16 ounces. Table salt. Non-iodized preferred, but standard iodized will function. 2 lengths of insulated wire with alligator clip ends. And 1 or more 5mm white LED lights, available in bulk packs for under $2. The construction. Fill the jar with 16 ounces of water. Dissolve 2 full tablespoons of non-iodized salt into the water. Stir for 90 seconds until fully dissolved. This is your electrolyte, your ion conducting medium. Cut or bend the zinc strip so it hangs inside the jar without touching the sides or the copper. Suspend the copper piece parallel to the zinc, maintaining at least 1 inch of separation between the two metals at all points. Neither metal should touch the other. Contact destroys the reaction. Attach 1 alligator clip wire to the zinc strip. Attach a second wire to the copper. Connect the free ends to the positive and negative terminals of your LED zinc to negative, copper to positive. The LED will illuminate. Voltage output from a single cell typically ranges from 0.5 to 1.1 volts, depending on the surface area of the metals and the salinity concentration of the solution. To increase power output, construct additional cells in a series chain. Positive terminal of one cell connected to the negative terminal of the next is, following the exact architecture Volta used in 1800. 4 cells in series will produce sufficient current to power a small fan, a low-draw radio, or charge a basic USB device through a step-up voltage converter, available for under $4. Replace the saltwater solution every 72 hours as ion depletion reduces output. The metals themselves last months before requiring replacement. Safety note: this is low-voltage direct current. The output is non-hazardous. Local regulations regarding home energy generation vary. Consult your municipality's guidelines before scaling the system beyond personal use. Total cost, under $3. No subscriptions. No replacements on a corporate schedule. No expiration date printed on the side. What has been shown here is one document from one shelf inside a much larger vault. There are hundreds of methods, materials, and mechanisms like this one, documented, proven, functional, that were quietly moved out of public education and off retail shelves over the past century, not by accident. by the same economic logic that just explained why a 200-year-old discovery never reached your kitchen drawer. This channel exists to open that vault one document at a time. Every subscriber keeps this vault open. Every share puts one more person inside it before the next emergency, the next outage, the next moment when the grid fails and the batteries in the drawer are already dead. Share this with someone who may need this before the next storm takes out their power for a week. Everything compiled, sources, supply lists, scaling guides, is in the description below. This is not entertainment. This is a record. And records survive when communities protect them. This knowledge did not disappear by accident. The galvanic cell is only one layer of what was buried. There is a second category, older, simpler, and requiring no metals at all, that produces the same class of electrical output from materials found in any forest, any field, any patch of disturbed earth. The next vault opens this week. What is inside is heavier than everything in this one. If this vault matters to you, subscribe to Frontier Trapper, not for the content, for the record. Every subscriber is another lock on a door they have been trying to close for over a century. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and bring someone with you. The vault stays open as long as this community does.